Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Ybot, and first of all, my apologies, this video will not have any game sound whatsoever, and the reason for that is that my voice sounded like a drunk robot when I was doing this the first time, so I'm coming through here, and we're going to bring back the drinking commentary. That's what we're going to do. So I got a nice big pint of Keith's in front of me, and we're going to explain the gameplay and the moves to the best of my abilities. Now, as you can see here, we are playing on a fractal map, standard size, and Immortal difficulty, and we're playing as Sweden. Excuse me. Sweden's unique is that they can gift great people for 90 influence over a city-state, usually shattering any sort of alliances, and I'm going to use the crap out of that later on. And, yeah, so far, so this is going to be, the goal of this is to be a diplomatic game, although the first thing I did once I met the Indonesians just to my north there, as I declared war on them and I stole their workers. And that's kind of set the tone for our relationship throughout the entire game. And so far, we've managed to pretty much the only people we've discovered is Hiawatha and Hiawatha and Indonesia. And I think I'm just hoeing and hawing over which technologies I want to get. I think I want to get to composite bows so I can start attacking the Indonesians. Because you can do some serious damage early game if you want. It's hell, just take a look at my Russia Let's Play for seeing how much serious damage you can deal to people early game. With early game warmongering, I took over my entire freaking continent. But, yeah, there are some drawbacks. Although at this point all I've met is Hiawatha. What is my happiness at anyway? Looks like it's at 7. Yeah. I'm looking at this through a movie editing software, so I'm not getting the full screen. I'm not getting the full 720p experience. So, things not quite as good there. I'm just min-maxing things, making sure that Sagunta grows as best as it can, and eventually I'm going to drop Helsinki somewhere, my third city. I really actually wanted to be here where the Indonesian coastal city is, and it bugs the shit out of me that they didn't settle on the river. So I may end up razing that city when I get to it. We'll see what sort of stuff is in it. If it's worth keeping, then I won't. If not, then I won't. But yeah, chances are I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna burn that sucker to the ground. Alright, we're just gonna go ahead and accept Hiawatha's embassy. I believe he's already scouted us out, that's why I didn't bother. Oh, we are at war with... Silly me. We are at war with Indonesia. Not sure how much damage we're gonna do with just archers, though. Once again, guys, I apologize. This is not going to be the best commentary. This will maybe a more entertaining commentary. There may be more drunken Ybot comments coming out of this, but yeah, I'm just trying to guess at what I was thinking at the time, based on what I was doing. At this point, I'm just trying to build up my army, trying to get my archer force as big as it can be. I can do some damage. In fact, that city right there looks like it could be ripe for the taking. I mean, yeah, I think that's my goal there, is to try to take that city. Because it's only got 10 combat strength. My warrior has 8 combat strength when he's at full health. And my goal there is to get some proper promotions, get the cover promotions, preferably both cover promotions for the warriors. So that they can take a few more hits. And then eventually, once I get my unique unit, which is a replacement for the rifleman, which is in the warrior's upgrade line, those guys are going to be really friggin' buff with all their promotions. Anyway, we still actually have to build National College, so that's something to keep in mind too. That's only going to take 12 turns. We'll start building it in 1 turn, but that's more important than any sort of little war adventures that we've got going on here. So if we can get that done before we drop our 3rd city, then that's fantastic. Cycle through the turns here, and we're going to do some posturing. This is how we play a diplomatic game with Sweden. Oh yes. I also just remembered something about the later game here, and I think now that I think about it, I probably sentenced one of the AIs to death, pretty much, even though they have the strongest army in the world. But you guys will just have to wait around for that one. Anyway. Oh, maybe I'll take my settler and plop it there, or burn the city instead. Alright, so the Parthenon's been built. Hiawatha going to give me 7 gold for that. Got Declaration of Friendship with me, so... Okay, so I'm just able to get straight up cash out of him. You guys may or may not be aware, but at standard speed, the most gold you can get out of a luxury resource is 240. If the AI is relatively friendly with you. If they are unfriendly with you, then the amount goes down. And also you can sell the luxury at the normal rate, like before they start hitting you, you can sell the luxury at 7. And then it goes down from there. The lowest they'll ever buy it for is 3. Excuse me. Alright, so once again, more posturing. Just trying to snipe down Indonesia's forces sitting on top of those 2 hills there. Shooting at any sort of units that come by as they come. And we're going to run the hell away from the barbarians. We'll get a trade route set up with Sagunta. This is one thing that it's one thing I didn't do so much of on my deity games, which I probably should try. The next time I try a game on deity, I'm going to try doing more intercity trade routes, because tall empires are extremely powerful in Civ 5. So, well, probably not more so than wide empires, but they're a lot easier to get. We're going to delete that unit for now. We're going to delete that missionary. So yeah, tall empires are a lot more powerful relative... No, not relative to wide empires. They're equally as powerful. That's the point I'm trying to make. Wybot having alcohol is sometimes a confused Wybot. So, yeah. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make with that is that by building your cities tall, population is basically equal to science in Civ 5. You need less science speakers to advance to a new technology the fewer cities you have. So you can just get some trade routes going in and like first off feeding the other cities so they grow up to a good size, and then reversing those so they feed into your capital and give you a lot of stuff there. And okay, I'm still trying to get a religion there. Anyway, yeah, if you send internal trade routes to your cities for food, then especially if you send them back to your capital, then you can get a very strong, very large capital. And you can then afford to take guys off of farming the fields, and they can do stuff like study in the universities. You can have university specialists, and they'll generate you science and great scientist points. Then when you get those great scientists, you can go ahead and you can plop down academies, or yes, they're called academies. Anyway, I wonder if we're going to have academies in Civ 6. I know we're going to have an entire district dedicated to science. We're going to have the campus, as they call it, which is basically it's going to be a university. That's basically what it's going to be. We'll have a university that takes up an entire tile. It'll have its little library. It'll have its the university itself. It'll have the research lab, and it might even have a bit of an observatory in it. That would qualify as a university in most... Generally, that would qualify as a university, in my opinion. But yeah, the campus is a decent name for it. I'm curious about the growth districts, personally. The growth districts in Civ 6 look interesting. So it looks like they'll have aqueducts, and then later on you have like high-rise apartment buildings. I'm very curious how that works, and if they do have high-rises, I'm wondering what sort of effect those have on the city. Anyway, we're going in there, we're taking another one of their missionaries, and we're moving our troops into melee range. Looks like we're getting ready to conquer this city. Right, okay, what I'm doing here is I'm just moving my warrior in, and I'm going to let him take some hits from the city, because the way the AI works in Civ 5 is that the AI will target the weakened unit first, the most weakened unit first. So in that particular case here, that's going to be my warrior, so I can basically guarantee the safety of my full health archers, or close to full health archers. So yeah, I'm going to bring those guys in, take a shot at that city. Probably not bring those guys in because they're a little damaged. Set these guys to fortify until healed. Yeah, we need to set them up for that. Just need to hope they don't die. And those guys are very close to dying now, actually. But we have composite bows. This is good. We can do some upgrades. So that guy now has cover 1. That guy can't escape, so if I go another turn at war with Indonesia, then I die. And I won't be able to, yeah, I can't pillage that, so I think I'm just going to take some shots off and peace out with them for now. Because I do want to save my little warrior there. And unlike Beyond Earth, there are... you can get away with murder in Civ 5 when it comes to piecing out. In Beyond Earth, if you're losing a war badly, then you need to pay reparations. Also, if you're winning a war, really, you're winning a war, like clobbering them, regardless of the size of their army, you can go in and your war score demands that they have to give up cities or technologies or whatever. That, I'm kind of hoping they bring to Civ 5. Anyway, we're just doing some diplomacy with Hiawatha here. Gonna try to sell him some of my horses. He won't take them. He'll only take them if they're free. But yeah, I'll have to do a video later on things that are in Beyond Earth that I'd like to see in Civ 5. Or Civ 6, rather. The diplomacy system's really it's really good, and I get a feeling that they're Beyond Earth was a bit of a beta for their diplomacy system. I'm curious about the war score system, though, because it solves a lot of issues, but it also brings up a whole lot of new stuff. And I'm sorry, guys, for discussing like other games in the middle of a Civ 5 Let's Play, but yeah, this is a commentary after the fact now, and I don't remember exactly what I'm doing 100% of the time, besides piecing out with Indonesia and pulling my troops out. I'm going to get them some upgrades, and then we're going to try again. And I'm going to push towards currency so that I can pay for my army here. I want to make sure that I'm generating loads and loads of cash. I'm going to need more beer soon. So, anyway, as I was saying with this stuff and this stuff, yeah, yep, super professional here, this stuff. Anyway, the diplomacy system in Civ in Beyond Earth is interesting. It's got very clear demarcations as to, I guess you'd call them demarcations. Got it very clear indicators. That's a better word for it. It's less of a big, ridiculous, pompous word. I like big, pompous words, by the way, folks, so I apologize. I apologize if I use them. I apologize for everything because I'm Canadian. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that. But yeah, they've got great big markers for respect and fear, which are very useful, I found. As a matter of fact, I don't even have to install Info Addict in Rising Tide. They have a mod for it, but I don't find it necessary because the fear level is basically a rough indication of your army size relative to them. And the respect column's interesting, actually, because it kind of forgoes the traditional things in Civ 5 and they already have stated they're at least doing some of this in Civ 6, where it's like, if you have a lot of improvements, then say the Space China will really like you. They'll be like, oh, you're expanding, you're improving the land. I think definitely the African Union faction Beyond Earth is the same way. They're like, you're caring for our new Mother Earth and all that. So, also the African Union's pretty damn chill to begin with. We're just upgrading some dudes. So yeah, having those other modifiers that are completely separate from your army size is very helpful, especially when it's stuff that you should be doing in the game anyway, like improvements, controlling happiness issues or unhealthiness issues. Unhealthiness issues, and conducting trade, that sort of thing. I like that they have those separate modifiers in there that do something as opposed to just direct diplomatic contact. That system's pretty good, and I think they're already looking to copy that. Like Cleopatra, for example, is fairly traditional, I guess, where she's like, she will absolutely love the power with the greatest army, and if you have a weak army, she'll be very hostile towards you. So that's very traditional in terms of Civ 5 and probably Civ 4 before it. But some other ones, I don't remember any off the top of my head. Like they just released France recently. I don't remember what France does besides the... Yeah, I don't remember what they do. I know that Teddy Roosevelt, he's an interesting one. If you're chill, then it sounds like he's going to be pretty chill. Although he may not be, because they have secret personality traits that you have to unveil during the game. But yeah, Teddy Roosevelt's is a very interesting one where if you were able to bribe people to go to war, then you can use Teddy Roosevelt like a bat for every warmonger on the continent, because he's going to maintain a very, very strong army. And it sounds like he's going to maintain that strong army, but not use it. He's going to use it as a defensive force, which there are very many of you who are going to disagree with this statement, but that by and large is the Americans' ideology with regards to military strength and military power is to or I think that's the ideal. That's what it was originally. It's probably changed now, but the idea of speaking softly and carrying a big stick is definitely something that's been in American foreign policy for a while, and indeed it's made them one of the most unique political or superpowers in world history. Like, every other superpower before them became at least somewhat imperialistic. The United States, well, it could be argued that they started out as the 13 colonies and then they took over like half the continent. But beyond that, they didn't go any further. They didn't, like the British, for instance, they colonized, they took over lands in North America, the Caribbean, the Indian subcontinent, Africa. So they had holdings all over the world. The Mongols, they took over pretty much all of Asia. Alexander the Great kept on fighting battles until he died, pushing his way east as far as he could. The Romans took over over pretty much all of Europe, and yeah, like every other power, every other political superpower in history has pushed for like territorial advancement. But then we've got this country that's a democracy that doesn't necessarily want its people to be involved in stupid fucking wars in the name of land and imperial glory. Not always, keep in mind, not always, but historically speaking, it's a shift, it's a change. And I do believe, it's been a long time since I was in university, but I do believe that the Americans at the end of World War II were very, very anti-imperialist, and they were pushing for they're applying political pressure for the independence of various British holdings that were involved in World War II, and I think they played some part in independence of quite a few countries in like Africa and everything. I'm not sure how large of a role, but I think they contributed political pressure. And we met Catherine. All right, very good. Establish some embassies with Catherine the Great here. So she is actually north of Hiawatha there. Very good. And we're going to eventually work our way up to camping out right next to that mountain there. Got a nice city by the mountain right next to that copper unique luxury. And we'll look into trying to take down that particular city. So, yeah, on what I was talking about just a little bit before here about the Americans and stuff, I think that it's nice. I'm not sure whether they had the tech for it before to make civilizations behave so uniquely rather than just having like a series of numbers demonstrating their likelihood to do various things. But I'm liking the sounds of what they're doing with Teddy Roosevelt and all of them. Sounds like they're doing some interesting things. I'm very excited. Anyway, this is going to be about the end of this particular section of the video. I'm going to throw down a cut here, and thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you next time. Part 3 will also be a drunken commentary.